When I introduce myself, I'm from Korea, then the follow-up question usually comes up, are you from North or South? They always ask, like, is there Starbucks in Korea? Like,
해외여행을 해보신 분이라면 이런 상황을 많이 겪으셨을 겁니다. 한국에서 왔다고 밝히는 순간 상대방이 눈을 크게 뜨며 남한이야 북한이야 라고 묻는 경험 말이죠. 그뿐만이 아닙니다. 핵 위협에서 서울이 안전한지, 한국도 다른 선진국처럼 잘 발달되어 있는지 묻는 질문도 종종 들을 수 있는데요. 오늘은 미국의 펜실베니아 주립대 교수이자 한국에 대해 오랜 기간 관심을 갖고 연구해온 샘 리처드 교수의 강의실 풍경을 가져왔습니다. 그는 한류 학자라고 불리며 K컬처는 물론 한국의 경제 발전, 문화의 독특함에 대해 미국인들에게 알리고 있는 주역인데요. 그의 수업을 듣는 사우디와 한국, 나이지리아에서 온 학생들이 미국에 처음 왔을 때 들었던 질문과 그때 느낀 감정에 대해 이야기하기 시작했습니다. 영상으로 확인해 보시죠.
What has been your experience with white people in the United States?
So my first experience is in the first year seminar class. It was like one of the first conversations I had. It was with a white dude. He said, "Do you ride camels?"
Yeah.
And he looked like really like he was asking like, really, like, do you ride camels? So he wasn't even joking. He wasn't sarcastic, you know.
Dude. So what you discovered about white people, at least this guy, is he's really interested in camels. All right. So what else? Okay, but what else? Like, what's just your general when you go out in public? It's like, what's your experience of white people?
Okay, one time I was in Beaver Stadium. Okay,
Yeah.
I was waiting for my friends, and this guy comes. Okay, he was offering me a beer. I said like, oh, I'm a minor. I didn't want to say I'm a Muslim. I just said, oh, I'm a minor. I can't drink. I look young. So I was like, I'm a minor. And he was like, oh yeah, where are you from? And I was like, give a guess. And he was like, oh, India? I was like, no. I was like, okay, what about, I don't know. I was like, okay, I'm from the Middle East. And he was like, oh yeah, I've been to the Middle East. I've killed some like Middle Easterns and stuff like that. And he was like, he was a little drunk. I wouldn't say, but it was really like bad. Like he wasn't like, I would say he was conscious, okay? He said, I killed some Iraqis and stuff like that. It wasn't like really a good conversation. But, and then he started like talking about the FBI and stuff like that. And I was like, are you okay, man?
So you're asking him if he's okay.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I was scared of my life, of course, because if I said anything, I just said Middle East, and if I said Saudi, he would, I don't know what he'd do, you know?
Okay. You gave me two experiences. What about, dude, you've been here 2 years. There's a whole bunch of white people that you're interacting with. What's your average interaction with white people?
Okay. Let's talk about the average. Okay, so most probably here people are like educated in the university.
Yeah.
So I think.
Except the guy that asked you about.
Yeah, that guy. It's crazy. Okay, so most probably, especially like in the engineering, petroleum engineering, a lot of professors are like, they have a good idea about Saudi and like Muslim people because there's like a lot of Saudis in the petroleum classes. So I don't feel like from day to day like.
Okay. How about your other classes? Do you like? I want to go back to what he said. He said like he meets people. People seem really nice. Are white people nice? On average.
Yeah, on average, yes. They're kind, especially here in State College. But I want to say like. Before coming here, I thought like life is really like dangerous. Like dangerous, there's serial killers, all kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, it's just like it's a stereotype. I just was scared of my life once I came here. So once I went with my family to Philadelphia, and we arrived at night. It was really scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to offend anyone from here from Philly. I guess like there's a lot here from Philly, but downtown Philly is really scary.
Dude, Tay knows, man. She's from Philly, and that's why she's here. She's like, shit. All right, okay. All right, for you. Did he say anything that kind of comes out of like what's your general experience of white people, as a you know, someone who's East Asian, Korean? Your general experience, not like, you know, we're going to talk about specific experiences.
when I introduce myself, I'm from Korea, then the follow-up question usually comes up, are you from North or South? So, like, I'm sure someone has asked that question. It's not really offensive question, but I think it's a bit ignorant question. Like, have you been on the news? Like, would I be in the U.S. if I were from? Well, okay.
No, the chances are highly unlikely.
Yeah, the chances are highly unlikely that I'm talking to you one-on-one.
Okay, and then just what else though? What's your average perception of white people?
So most of my friends that I met from Penn State are white. They're usually in sororities.
Are they nice? Are they?
Yeah, they're nice. They're my friends. So, but when I'm on FaceTime, when I'm back in Korea and I'm like on FaceTime with them, they always ask like, "Is there Starbucks in Korea?" Like, they always ask like
Stuff like that.
like them thinking that some other country other than the U.S. is underdeveloped or like not westernized enough. I don't know. Like,
Okay, so one of your experiences of people, is that unique to white? Is that all people? That can't be just white people, because like black and brown people are pretty not very aware either.
could be, but unfortunately, my friend group is not that diverse.
Okay.
So I can't really say that, not intentionally, but like being in Madison, like I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, which is predominantly white, and I went to
Okay.
like private school, which was 99% white, and I was the one girl who was bringing the diversity to the whole school. So.
And okay, and there, your experience of white people is?
Is that, I mean, they were curious about me. They wanted to get to know me because everyone had their families and I was living alone. Like I was
Okay.
living with my host family, so they always like try to invite me to Thanksgiving, Christmas. So yeah, people are friendly and nice, but I don't think it was because they were white people. I think it was because they're people.
They're more, yeah, but it's, okay, yep. And I think, but on average, Americans are pretty friendly. But nonetheless, lots of people around the world are very friendly. But
Yeah.
Americans are at the upper, more friendly kind of area, us group. Yeah. Okay. But you, before you came here, when you think about coming here and being with white people and like black Americans, like how do people distinguish?
Most of us, especially in the middle class Nigerian home, we grew up watching CNN, BBC, Sky, like mostly Western media. So every time we see images of our country, our people, is often bad. But a few times we see images of black people, is of black Americans, and it's like, oh, entertainment, popular actors, athletes. So black Americans kind of like form like a positive image of black people. Like that was like the only positive image of black people we saw in the media. And
Oh, you mean people who are in entertainment and
Yeah,
performance
yeah.
arts? Okay, okay. Because otherwise you see negative images?
yeah, mostly every time we saw about Africa in whole, it's mostly, oh, donates to this, or some kid on the news that's
Yeah.
malnourished. But I do want to point out about you said something about racism.
Yeah.
So for Nigerians especially, from my class, from lower class to middle class, from where I am now, for racism, we didn't only like think white people, because we've had a lot of experiences. We've had racism from
About this conversation, I think this is really complex. And people have very different perspectives on it. One is the United States isn't the center of the world, right? It's not the center of the world, man. And it's not the center, and we don't define all relationships between race, ethnic, and cultural groups. Okay. All right, cool. Hey, thanks. How about you? Do you want to have kids?
Of course. Yes.
Well, you say of course, but in Korea, of course is not the answer that
Yeah,
most Koreans would give.
올해 초 중국 인구가 60여 년 만에 처음으로 감소했다는 보도가 나왔었죠. 일본도 마찬가지입니다. 출산율이 사상 최저치로 떨어지면서 당국이 출산 장려 정책 예산을 2배 늘릴 것이라는 발표까지 했는데요. 한국도 대표적인 저출산 국가라는 오명과 함께 각계에서 우려 섞인 시선을 보내고 있습니다. 이렇게 아시아의 출산율이 급감하는 가운데 펜실베니아 주립대 사회학과 샘 리처드 교수가 아시아의 인구 감소를 주제로 한국과 중국 학생을 연단으로 나오게 해 이야기를 들어봤다고 하는데요. 과연 20대 초반의 한국과 중국 학생은 출산에 대해 어떤 생각을 갖고 있을까요? 영상으로 내용을 확인해 보시죠.
Hi, my name's Yeonji, and I'm from China. I'm a journalism major.
Hello everyone. My name is Junho, and I'm from South Korea. I'm a freshman. I'm studying film.
Hi guys, my name is Leah. I'm from Korea, so my Korean name is Hyunsuk. I'm currently doing a podium tea up here, and I'm a junior majoring in accounting.
So I want to have a conversation with the three of you about a very different issue. And the issue is a really low population rate, a falling population rate that is very troubling and very disturbing for people in different countries, including China. Can you explain the one-child policy?
In 1960s, that every family can only have one child, and I guess it's last for 50 years.
Yeah, it's about almost 40 years. Yeah.
Almost 40 years.
I think so. Yeah.
And in 2016, I guess,
Yeah.
and they just came up with the 2 children policy.
Yeah.
Each family can have 2 children, and in the coming 2021, they came out with the 3 children policy.
So the issue is the birth rate in China was growing so fast that China was very clearly going to be too overpopulated, like we see with India, right? And the Chinese government said, listen, we have to cut the birth rate down. And so we're going to allow people to have one child, except in rural areas. Some people could have 2 children, right? Yeah. If you had a girl for your first child, do you remember that?
I guess it's like some of the minorities, they are allowed to have 2 children, but most of the
Like if you were Han
ethnicities,
Chinese.
Yeah, they're only allowed to have one child, no matter it's girls or boys.
And so one of the things, because of the way Chinese families are, that it's the boy that looks after the parents. The girl gets married off with somebody else, like many, many cultures in the world. So many Chinese parents wanted boys
Yeah, definitely.
and didn't want girls, which is why when you meet people here these days, people who are adopted from China, it's rare to encounter a boy, a male. Like I rarely have a male student who's adopted from China, but I have lots of women students. The current birth rate in Korea is 0.81, and in China 0.28, like well below. Look at Japan, and even Germany and the U.S., right? And so it's well below reproduction rates. So the way the U.S. population is going to grow is from immigration. The way the German population is going to grow is from immigration. Japan, China, and Korea. Well, China, it's going to continue to grow because of the large number of people in China. But pretty quickly, it's going to fall off. So here's my question to you all. When you think about having children, what do you consider? What are you thinking about?
What kind of life I can provide for them? Like, there's a lot of stress, pressures from the society, and I need to give my child the best as I can, like from kindergarten to the best education and best quality of her or his life. So I think that is most of the thing I need to think.
Are you planning to, do you want children?
Actually, no. Like from now, like in my 20s, and I'm not in a close relationship, so not.
So you're not
thinking about
planning at this point in time. You're not planning to have children.
Yeah.
So how about you? Do you want to have kids?
Of course. Yes.
Well, you say of course, but in Korea, the of course is not the answer that
Yeah,
most
I know.
Koreans would give.
I know, but like from my perspective, like having a kid is start of my life. Like studying, getting a job, and earning money is like preparation stage to begin my like actual life. So that's why I say, of course, for me having a child. But like I like prioritize a well-being of my kids, future kids. Like for example, like provide their education or money to get a stable job or like be stable with their future family, like to maintain the, how to say, to fulfill their role as a parents or as a human.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that's a priority for me. Like,
So many Koreans, hang on, let me ask Leah, how about you? Are you about having children? Are you planning to have kids?
Yeah, I do, but maybe just one.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to like having a kid, I believe I will need to be just financially stable. Also, I will need to consider my marriage, how stable it is.
Yeah.
Because I know I was pretty privileged, and I know how my parents dedicated to my life.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of pressure and responsibility of having a child and let them feel the joy of the environment, the earth in general.
So one of the things that I hear from people in China and people in Korea is and you said it, right? The pressures of having a child. Can you just really quickly just walk us through like what's your day, like your average school day?
I was in international school, but that's why I don't know about like public school in Korea. But as long as I know, like public school mostly start at like 8:20
Yeah.
when you're
And
in
you go.
elementary school.
Yeah.
And when you go up to middle school, high school, you like shift to like 8 or like 7:50.
Okay, and then you get out of school and then you go where? To the cram schools.
Academy or like private lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes until
Like 10.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's same with you?
Yeah, similarly.
About the pressures of having children and the pressures of doing all the things you need to do to really successfully raise a child. There are a lot more pressures. Like when you think about having to deal with all the education pressures and making sure your child is
20대 초반의 젊은이들이 벌써부터 느끼고 있는 출산에 대한 사회적 압박감과 더불어 출산과 육아에 따른 책임감을 확실히 인지하고 있다는 사실이 인상적이었는데요. 다음 영상에서는 아시아의 출산율을 주제로 한국의 부모님들이 보여준 놀라운 행동에 대해 이야기가 이어집니다. 오늘 영상도 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리겠습니다. 항상 함께 해주시는 시청자, 구독자 여러분께 깊이 감사드립니다.
After they got me, their just word have changed, and they just found a lot of joys nurturing and just raising me as a kid.
But lots of Koreans aren't saying that. Right?
지난 시간 우리는 펜실베니아 주립대 사회학과 샘 리처드 교수가 아시아의 인구 감소를 주제로 진행한 강의 내용 중 일부를 살펴봤습니다. 연단에선 한국과 중국 출신의 학생 3명은 각 나라를 대표해 출산에 대한 자신의 생각을 이야기했는데요. 오늘은 인구 문제와 더불어 한국의 부모들에게서 관찰되는 독특한 현상에 대한 이야기가 나왔습니다. 강의장에 있던 미국인 학생들을 놀라게 한 한국인 부모들의 행동, 과연 무엇이었을까요? 영상으로 만나보시죠.
You in particular talk about that, say in Korea, like how, like man, I know so many, like the parents that are so stressed out because it's not easy to educate a human being in Korea. So here, if I think about having children, okay, I want to have kids. My wife and I have a couple kids, right? We deal with the child up to the age of 5, and then they go to school. And they go to the school down around the block, and we pay our taxes, and that's it, and that's what's expected of us. So that's just like, okay, here we go. Our child goes to school, and then the child's going to graduate from that school, and they're going to go to college, and they're probably going to go to Penn State because, you know, we work here, so we get a tuition break, and so it's great. They're going to go to Penn State. But that's not life in Korea. And it's not life for many, many people in China. It's like you're working to get your child to the best school, and then they got to go to all the cram schools and the academies afterwards. So you're looking at like, you're going to start at like 7 in the morning, really, and you're going to go to about 10 o'clock at night. And even you get home, did you even study when you got home? After you got home from cram school, did you also study?
I did because I was an academic student.
Wait, so hang on. So you get home at like 10 p.m., and then you're in your room studying still?
Yeah. At least in high school, I did.
Yeah? And you, the same thing?
Similar to me.
Yeah?
We have the study room in our dorm in high school. It is it's always closed at 12:30, so which means you can learn there like until 12:30.
Till 12:30 at night?
Yeah.
And then you
8
wake up at 6 in the morning?
Wake up at 6:50.
And you start all over again?
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from you all is like, this is a major, major endeavor to have kids. It's like, shit, it's costly. When does the nurturing happen? And when does it just work as a parent that you just got to do all these things to bring money into the household to afford all the things you need to afford and just make sure that your child does everything your child has to do?
Just depends on what my parents say. They told me after they got me, their just word have changed. And they just found a lot of joys nurturing and just raising me as a kid. Because I resemble a lot about my parents, and they just love just seeing me growing that way. That just kind of gives them the vibes of their childhoods, and they also get a lot of joy. So that's just gonna be a really fun journey that is a privilege.
But lots of Koreans aren't saying that, right?
Because there are a lot of responsibilities and pressures under it. Then under the name of the parents, they have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of contributions and devotions.
And there's a lot of competition to really do the things like what you're saying, and you would say, for your children. It's like, you don't just send your child off to the local school. It is just an endless game or move. It's like playing a chess game. It's just so incredibly stressful.
Besides just financial stuffs, just get into a really good schools or like even like getting into good cram schools, it is limited and it has to be really competitive. So parents need to get information about which cram schools or like which schools gonna fit for their kids. And they have to be informative. And just to be informative, they have to talk a lot with the parents around them and they have to socialize with them. Or so even when, after like the kids got into the school, if they become a class president, I think like most of the parents also like feel their duties and responsibilities of doing something for the classmates because their kid is the class president.
Got you. Were you class president?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So that's even more work for your parents. It was a little bit complicated because I'm like, well, it's not that much work to have a child. But if I were in Korea, I'd be thinking, like, damn, this is so much work to have kids. Like, I definitely don't want to have kids. So when I think about that, the numbers of the birth rate in Korea, I just think about it from my lens, and it kind of makes sense at some level. You know, that the people would be really reluctant. Is China offering any special benefits to parents to have kids, like because China is now trying to get people to have more kids?
Actually, I don't know a lot, but I guess yes. I guess they have for I don't know. I feel like if they have one more kids.
But are you getting the message that like, hey, you're supposed to now have more kids? Like the Chinese government is saying like, hey, listen, man, when you go back to China, have children. Do you get that message?
Yeah. Actually, my parents expect that for me.
They expect that for you?
Yeah, like I remember that when one time my mother told me, like, she's so, I don't know, it felt so weird. Like she told me that, in your age, like if you're in the rural area, you are already a mother.
Yeah.
But we support you to have more education.
But you're the exact person in China who's not going to have kids. You're going to be highly educated. You've lived abroad. You're much more likely to go back and not have kids. People like you.
I feel like I just don't want to have a kids by myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I-
To get married and have a child.
I feel like I want to adopt someone.
Yeah?
Like there are so many kids abandoned by their parents.
Yeah.
So if I want to have a child, maybe I will choose this way.
And you're an only child, right?
Yeah, I'm the only child in my family.
And you're a girl. So that's like a much bigger thing for your parents. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Hey, what is the Korean government offering people to have more kids? Because I know the Korean government is like really pushing people to start.
Means you have like children more than the number of 3.
Yeah.
I think it have changed to like 2. I'm not sure, but that was 3 in the past.
But you have a special elevated
Yeah.
status.
Incentives, maybe like possible discounts.
Yeah.
You get specific cards
Yeah.
from the government.
Yeah.
that you can
Right now, they're
use.
just raising the amount of money that you make as a parent for the first year anyway to like $750 a month just to have a child. Imagine that. Like you have a child. This is what the Korean government is doing because they need people to have children because let me show you this. Actually, it was just kind of interesting. Can you go to the next slide? Like this is the age sex ratio. So it's men on the left, women on the right, okay, everywhere. And men, women, women. This is 1960. So see, there's very few old people above the age of 80 and lots of young people below the age of 10. And then look at 90. It's the young people start to decline, old people grow. Look at 2010, old people grow, young people decline. And then look here, in 2030, you've got all these old people and you don't have anyone to take care of them. So like, when I go to Korea, for example, I like stay at this hotel. It's a place, it's a retirement hotel. And like, you have so many old people in Korea, but you don't have anybody who's young to take care of them. This is a major national crisis.
오늘 영상도 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리겠습니다. 항상 함께 해주시는 시청자, 구독자 여러분께 깊이 감사드립니다.